Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm MarBeth Dunn, and welcome to Conversation About Peace. My special guest tonight is the amazing Christine Powers. She is a dynamic soprano, a wisdom keeper. She's a cathedral of sound, and she awakens and opens hearts with her voice, which is just amazing. And we'll talk about your voice, but I'm so glad that you're here so you can talk as well.
Thank
And
you.
so,
I'm delighted to be with you. You're one of my dearest friends.
oh yes. So your voice just is so much more. You're so much more than your voice because your voice extends far beyond singing. You're also a writer, you're a poet, you are an energy practitioner, you play those amazing singing bowls in the background. You're a teacher, you're a presenter, and you talk about purpose and power and expansion through sound, and you're just like the Renaissance woman.
Or a little bit like a ferret, right?
A little bit.
There is that.
There is that, yes. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is that real life-changing experience that you had about 2 years ago. Would you like to share that with our viewers?
Yes, and as you and I were talking before we went into the interview, it's a perfect entree to talking about peace and the power of peace. 2 years ago, my husband and family and I were preparing for a big life change, moving from the suburbs of Albany, New York, to the Adirondack Mountains, and we were giving up a suburban, very cushiony lifestyle for a small house and tons of acres and a new adventure. So we sold our home, and in between, we didn't have a place for our belongings because we were renovating. So we took everything we owned, including my business, put it in with my husband's business. He was renting space in a warehouse for his contracting business. And I literally watched one night everything burn in a historic fire in the area, absolutely historic. And I watched on the news everything that I knew just literally going up in smoke. It was unbelievable. And one of the ironies is that I had 102 fever and I had the flu.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was already in a really weird state. Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you were basically incapacitated at the time, but I remember
Yeah.
that. And your husband lost all of his tools for his business.
Yes, we both did. Yeah, we lost the tools, right? The physical tools of our livelihood, not these tools, right? Um, and all of our possessions. We had, with the exception of 2 suitcases and 2 laundry baskets, full of summertime things that we were just staying at a friend's house, yeah, for a few weeks before we went north. So it was surreal, to say the least.
Wow. So tell me about how you were able to stay peaceful during this experience.
Mm. The first thing I would say is that I was profoundly held by grace. And that's kind of an abstract language because how do you define that, right? How do you articulate that? But I felt a buoyancy and a stabilization to myself, my heart, my field, if you will, that was beyond me, right? So I also would say, um, my husband said something to me. I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had several people at that point gathered at our friend's house. And I was crying out to him about his business, and he said, I'm Larry Powers. I'm the business.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I'm the business, and I will be fine. I can do anything. And that was,
Wow.
yeah, it was a profound moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're Christine Powers. You can do it.
Well, yeah, and we were very blessed with all kinds of people coming forward to assist us in myriad ways. We had, prayers coming in. We had blessings coming in. I was actually, we were all gifted massages, which was so helpful. Really, we had over time, you know, anything from furniture to you know, one of my favorite and most tender contributions was a guy who ran a hot dog cart, donated like, you know, 4 dozen hot dogs, because it's what,
That's
you
so
know,
sweet.
yeah, exactly. It's like he knew that's what he could do, right? And so
Oh,
we felt very loved, very supported, and that um, boy, that lifts your heart. That really
yeah.
lifts your heart. Yeah, yeah. And I also would say that I firmly got the lesson that home is where I am right here, where if my husband and my children are with me, this is home, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the concept of home has permanently me. It was a paradigm shift. You know, home is not a dwelling, and we talk about it. You know, it's written everywhere. It's written in scripture, but I really got that lesson in my heart.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sure there were many other lessons that were unfolding at the time.
Yeah, you know, two of them come to mind. One is a gift for me. Um, well, several gifts. I don't I there's so many gifts that come with this experience, and with catastrophic loss, if you're open to them, right?
Yes.
The power of transformation at such a deep level. And when in the aftermath of the fire, when I looked at the horizon of my life, everything, all the rules, right, had been broken.
Yeah.
So I felt this freedom to begin to make up my own rules. And
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
and there was nothing when you own nothing, but you know, it's like being in a baby state, except I had the wisdom of a woman in her, you know, late 40s, that there was pure potentiality of what we wanted to create. It was wiped clean. And
There's
that was,
there's always that pure
yeah.
potentiality, but because we have this baggage, for
Mortgages,
lack of a better
car
word,
payments, college tuition. Yeah.
yeah, all these rules, as you call them, we feel like we're constrained, but really we are pure potentiality.
That's right. It's our attachments, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a profound lesson in detachment. And it's true. The things you miss are the things like photographs. And in my travels around the world, I had picked up very meaningful items from different places that had a spiritual meaning for me. And those were the things I grieved over.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, for me, it was a test that I have held myself out in a spiritual capacity, in a guiding, mentoring, supportive capacity. And here I was with the opportunity to walk the walk, right?
But
And
you did it.
yeah, that this is the thing, that one of the greatest gifts is that with ease and grace, more ease than I ever could have imagined, we walked through it to the other side. And I have walked the fire. And so,
Literally.
yes, so I have a relaxation about myself that came from this experience, and the gifts that come through me, because big aspects of me have been cleared out. So it allows space for light and love and just healing different aspects, beauty, joy to come through.
So now you're living in a whole completely different experience.
Yeah. I'm
So
all dressed up today.
so so
Yeah.
you're living in a very peaceful place.
Yes, and my day would look something like this. My husband and I will have coffee on the front porch, and we watch hummingbirds come in and out. We have turkeys that cross our front yard. We have a crane. We have a crane, which is so rare, that's been visiting us this summer.
Oh, wow.
And very frequently I will take a break from my work and I will hop on a quad, which is a four-wheeler, and I will ride up our property to this lookout that looks to the high peaks of the Adirondacks, and there's 11 layers of mountains. And I'll just sit there for lunch, right? This is my life. This is my hood, my neighborhood, you know? So where I live, there are 12 people per square mile. We
Wow.
we are the third house to the end of the electric grid, so we are right on the edge of wilderness, really. And the land is alive. It's come alive since we've been there. Um, it has many personalities, and many who have walked on the land have expressed that they feel a sacredness to it.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, yeah.
So now this has evolved into something new.
It's shaping me. Yeah, yeah. And it's shaping how I show up in the world in new and interesting ways that are a different expression. And a lot of it is tied to the land, and we experience such peace and healing there that we wish others to come, you know.
Okay.
Just come, you know. And you can't say just come. But so the vision, and we've begun building a community in the sense that we're building the infrastructure energetically and physically for people to come for retreats and workshops, for teachers to come and rent and do their own workshops, for people to come and just enjoy adventure glamping. I mean, it's a myriad set of circumstances right now.
So explain what glamping is for those who do not know.
Oh, it's my favorite. So, in my earlier days, we used to do a lot of backpacking, right? And as I've gotten older and put on a few pounds here and there, you know, it's not so easy to sleep on the ground. But we love camping. We love the outdoors. My husband is a professional wilderness guide as well, right? So
Right.
I wouldn't be married to him if we didn't share this beautiful love for nature. So glamping is luxury camping, or glamour camping specifically. And so after the fire, we had planned on living in a glamp site, and we called it our home for over 3 months. So I lived outside on the side of a mountain with this beautiful tent from New Zealand. It's called the Lotus Bell, and it's 11 feet tall, 16 feet wide. We literally, you know, dropped a queen size, you know, bedroom type style, everything you might need in there. And we built an outdoor kitchen. We have an outdoor patio, 2 fire pits, a hot, beautiful outdoor shower overlooking the mountains. So it's camping, but at night you can get all cleaned up and you can climb into a full queen size bed, a real queen with real linens, and you're in nature, but you're like in a hotel room. It's pretty fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that was part of the healing. We went right from our friend's home to living outside in a tent for for 3 months, and being in outside and in nature, and watching the weather come over the Western Ridge every day. I learned in that short time the feel of the air and how the weather would change. I could smell rain.
Sure.
It was just amazing. It was very healing for us, very healing.
So you're actually experiencing greater peace being in nature.
Absolutely.
You're one with the land
Yeah.
as opposed to living back in suburbia.
Yes, there is a vitality and a life force that is present, and everything is a little slower, the pace. And you measure things by sunrise to sunset, or by the birds, or by the colors of the leaves, not red lights, not congestion.
No TV.
We do watch TV. We do
Oh,
watch
okay.
TV. A little bit, a little bit. but not very much, not very much.
Cool.
It's a very different life. And usually I'm in hikers or, hiking sandals and not so cleaned up.
I totally get it. I know I lived in Haiti for 17 years, and part of the first 7 years I lived on a mountaintop in Kenskoff, Haiti, and there was a pine forest behind our house. And
Mm,
I loved to just go up and hike in the forest and find herbs and bring them back. And I had my little herb books, so
mm,
I could identify things, and I'd have some of the locals identify plants that were medicinal, and I brought it into a little garden. So definitely that sense of connection with the earth. Whereas when living in a city, it's very easy to lose that connection. I try to get outside every day and, just do a little weeding or something in the garden
yeah.
to reestablish it, but nothing to the extent that you are. So I know that I guess you are feeling very grounded, huh?
Well, my creativity has exploded,
I bet.
and yes, there's a groundedness and a stability to my emotions that is continually being deepened, and that's just by being there.
Sure.
Have you heard this new term, forest bathing, which cracks me up?
No.
Yeah. So I read a National Geographic article a few months back that the big thing is for people to leave the suburbs and the cities and go forest bathing, right? So to get your daily dose of nature, but there's profound truth to it. So yes, forest bathing is becoming a thing. And
It's
so,
very cute.
yeah.
Now, you're also creating a philosophers camp, which is
Yes.
very, very interesting. And it's more like a take on Thoreau.
Thoreau, yes, and Emerson
Emerson,
and
yeah.
Longfellow and Whitman. It is what I learned recently, about a year and a half ago, is that in 1858. So think about this: the height of the Transcendentalists, right before the Civil War. A painter, which is fascinating, from really close to where I grew up, convinced all these powerful men to come with him to the deep Adirondacks for
Wow.
a month of communing with nature.
Wow.
Yeah, and they went. They agreed. So there were 10 of them. They built their own shelter. They hunted their own food. There was a scientist with them. They did discoveries, and they would literally sit around the campfire and cross pollinate ideas and rejuvenate with one another and deepen into themselves. And this just eerily happens to be the vision I've been holding, to amplify the amplifiers and to invite those who, the way I look at it, MarBeth, is those of us that are on the front lines of humanity, right?
Mhm.
We're pushing the edges of consciousness. We're modeling a way of being that's deeper and authentic and full of light, to invite them to come for a very similar experience. So it's an immersion, a 5-day immersion into the rusticness of nature, where you're tending to the garden of your soul,
Beautiful.
and then you're also really impeccably cared for. And we have our first one launching this fall, so it's a big manifestation for the land. Yeah.
So beautiful. I know. I wish I would be able to come this fall, but it's not in the cards.
Well, we have two planned
Episode.
for next summer, so
All right. All right. Count me
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah. So it's Philosophers Camp, because that's what the original one was named, and
Yeah.
we're embodying that teaching that that reconnection to nature is essential for us right now.
Well, it also is creating more peace.
Yeah,
And I think from that, going deep within, finding that peace as we do in our meditation, our daily meditations,
yeah.
then it also opens you up to greater creativity and to, I love the cross pollination of the ideas. I think it's going to be an amazing experience.
Yeah, and it is true, so much of what you're doing with the Peace Project is we're at war with ourselves.
Yes.
So peace begins here,
Yes.
right? And then it flows outward.
Yes.
So it's really an opportunity, exactly as you said, to dive within yourself for the creativity, more peace, and also wisdom. The inner wisdom that we all carry, it kind of unfolds itself when you're out in nature. And these are deep
Yes.
woods. This is not like a walking through a manicured park. These are woods that have broken places and big stone places and streams and ponds and ravines, and it's primitive. It's
Yeah.
primitive.
Well, woods are primitive.
Yeah.
And I guess you have bears and all kinds of other critters there.
Yes. Yeah, we are very conscious about bears, and yeah, I mean we see the hummingbirds, the turkeys. We had a mountain lion that was living. Was it a mountain lion? Some kind of cat. Was it a mountain lion? Anyways, when we were renovating the cabin, before we were renovating it, we would come up for weekends. And when my husband started renovating, he discovered that we had a big cat. Big cat. I think it was a mountain lion. Living underneath the cabin, if you will.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we have coyotes. Have you ever heard a pack of coyotes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah, they're like banshees. To me, they're like
I know.
the Celtic banshees. So try hearing a bunch of coyotes when you're staying in a tent. That's quite something. It's quite something. And we have tons of deer, and the wildlife is abundant and very present there. Very present.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so wonderful. And I'm so happy that you went through that transition. You didn't need to take any of that stuff with you, evidently. And your house is so small, I don't think it would probably fit.
Yeah, we were determining what we were going to do with all of it, and there are two houses, that we have, and so we were ultimately thinking when we renovated the other one. So we did kind of have a plan, but it's all fine. It's really fine, and actually we are just about to go through the house and probably give away like half of what we've already accumulated. That's fascinating, the tendency to continue to accumulate.
Oh, tell me, look at my garage.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is that I'm at a new level of my baseline and everything I do, but the state of grace that I was in after the fire, I was not able to sustain it. It was so high. So
You'll be there again.
yeah, I've become a good observer of the habits. But it was tremendous. It was tremendous, and I'm very grateful for it. It's
Well, thank you.
shaped who I am.
Thank you so much. And who you are is wonderful. I love you, Christine Powers. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this has really been so interesting. I think our viewers are going to love you. And looking forward to your meditation.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah,
Yay.
I'm very honored to be invited to participate.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. And if you haven't yet, please join the World Miracle Peace Experiment at worldpeaceexperiment.com and join us every day, 7 days a week for 7-minute meditations. And so much love and so many blessings.